It just took me $65 to fill up my minivan is insane. Like, we need to normalize moms supporting moms because this is asinine. The fact that it just took me $65 to fill up my minivan. Come on, friend. Like, oh, why is everything so freaking expensive?
A guy pop up on my FYP the other day, a young guy, and he was in an absolute rage because he couldn't make it make sense. He makes 3 times minimum wage, 3 times what the minimum wage is, and he can't afford to live. Read an article in an economic journal that said the national average income to live comfortably for a single person is $96,000. For a family of 4, the national average to live comfortably, just comfortably, is $240,000. And granted, that's an average. So in some places it's higher. How are we supposed to make it make sense?
What do you do for work? Because 3 jobs apparently is not enough to pay rent anymore anywhere in this country.
Guys, are we tripping right now? Or is mascara actually $25?
$2,547? Are they out of their mind? Why? Why is this happening? This looks like gibberish.
Day 3 of Uber Eats after an 8-hour shift at my job to provide for my 4 kids and stay-at-home wife. Here we go.
So I'm having one of those moments where the credit cards are maxed out and the sales have slowed down. So we don't know how we're going to pay our bills for the business this month, going into next month. You know, I'm staying positive that something will come through and we'll get back on top. We always seem to do that, but just, you know, in the in-between days or sometimes weeks, it's really tough to like remember that. So I'm just reminding myself that it'll be okay.
Our electric bill for last month is $350. We used 40 more kilowatts or whatever it is than last month, and it is up over $40 than it was the previous month. Like, it is ridiculous. It is just 2 of us, and we don't ever have lights on. Nuts. How is it $350?
Things are just so randomly expensive. Like, I need a ladder, literally for one task. So I go to Home Depot, like, oh, no problem, I'll get a ladder. Why are ladders $100?
Shalom. I want to start by saying all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Hakodash, double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to I can push in this word, sincerity and honesty, for let constantly enduring. My name is Carver Allah. Always makes for edifying lesson. I'm gonna title it "Signs of a Crumbling Empire." Okay, because we are on the last leg of Esau's Edom Empire under the American rulership. Okay, and of course, which is a continuation of Rome. We have a few scriptures. The Lord makes for edifying lesson.
Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Right, so that's going into the Roman Empire that was wounded to death. But his deadly wound was healed because America was established. It also incorporated or embodied the ancient Roman Empire, right? Going into its philosophy, its matter of fact, what I could do is I could look up similarities between Rome, ancient Rome, and So this is off of, real quick off Google. It says ancient Rome and modern America share profound similarities across government, culture, and power dynamic, acting as dominion expansionists and culturally diverse societies. Parallel include a representative republic with the Senate. It says vast infrastructure projects, high military spending, and a mix of democratic ideals with growth, wealth, inequality. Okay? So it says on, it continues on, it speaks about republic structure. The US system is directly based on the Roman Republic, featuring a Senate from the Latin senatus and a House of Representatives akin to the people's assemblies. Okay, so basically, everyone knows it, even the scholars know it. America is that spiritual Rome, or a continuation of the Roman. Continuing on, it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast. Okay, because Rome was that first beast. Okay, but now America is the continuation or the last leg of that beast. Okay, which is what America, NATO, and the EU. Okay, and the whole world does. It says, and all the world wandered after the beast, right? Because America influenced the whole world. The whole world wants to be like America, okay? Just like the whole world wants to be like Rome, okay? Not only that, but America established itself after World War II when they dropped the hydrogen bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this is Job 14:5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, so yeah, that's going in also to Esau, Edom. Okay, they came to rulership as what, the Greeks, the Romans. Okay, and now today we going into the so-called Americans. Okay, but this is the last leg of the Roman Empire. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. With who? With the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So it's a certain time limit this man has to rule. And rewatching the last of it now, you know, and you could tell by the times we're in this place, okay, especially with high inflation, and you have these people unable to pay their bills, unable to provide for their families, and they can only blame their government. But this is all signs of a crumbling empire. Let's look up if inflation was a sign of the Roman Empire. It says, yes, severe inflation was a sign and driver of the Western Roman Empire decline, resulting from centuries of currency debasement, constant military spending, and economic instability. By the 3rd century, emperors reduced the silver content in coins to nearly zero to pay for armies, causing prices to soar and triggering a return to barter, fundamentally weakening the economic structure. Okay, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Okay, so the dollar is getting so weak that at some point it's going to be no more better than fuel for your fire or toilet paper, okay? But it won't be worth anything, okay? We are actually on the brink of a bartering system, okay? So this is Revelations 6, verse 5. It says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, 'Come and see.' And beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand." All right. Now, balances, let's go into the word balances. That black horse is representing um balances, which is what? It's twofold actually. Mainly is going into judgment, okay? But it's also going into captivity. Let's see. It says a yoke, okay? A yoke that's put on the drought drought cattle. Yeah, captivity, and which we are in captivity even till this day, you know. Let's see what it says. If there's anything else. A balance, pair of scales. All right. Now, what do you do with a pair of scales? You measure. All right. You make judgment. It says, and I heard the voice. It says, "Come and see," and beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. All right. So we come into the black horse representing judgment, along with captivity. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny." And we just went into this word penny. But you know what? We just gonna do it real quick. Penny, G1220, denarion, denarius, containing 10. All right, a Roman silver coin. It took the name. It took the name from it being equal to 10 asses, and this is also what, a day's wage, even for a Roman soldier. But it says here, and it says a measure of wheat for a penny, and the measure of barley for a penny. So actual wheat. Let's see this real quick. In Revelation 6 verse 6, wheat cost a penny, a Roman denarius, to symbolize extreme inflation and severe famine caused by war. A denarius was a full day's wage, which would normally buy a much larger quantity of food at this price. A barley purchases enough food for one person daily survival. Okay, and now you could you could look at Rome, and it will reflect America. Okay, because now here it is, we're facing high inflation in these times, and one of the main reasons why is war, and also um other conflicts and crises that may occur. Sanctions is another one. All right, but you can see how Rome went down. One sign was a financial crisis, you know, inflation, war, and these are the same things America has in common. Okay, so this is the last leg of the Roman Empire, and now we're at the end of this man's rulership. Ecclesiastes 7 and 8 says, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof." and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Okay, so better is the end of a thing, man. We're at the end of this man's rulership, the end of his empire, and it's better because why? We caught pure hell. Okay, we went through a harsh punishment, a harsh times. Okay, we swallowed down the dregs, but now we're coming to the end of this thing. You know, when you come to an end, you kind of look back and you kind of, you know, you kind of start, you have you have a sense of relief because you know it's coming to an end, like the end of a day, end of a work shift. Okay, now this is the end of our captivity. We'll be with the Most High, we'll be with Yahweh Shai, be in righteousness. Okay, we'll be in order. You know, and this place is gonna burn. Okay, which is a long time coming. All right, so Lord's edifying lesson. I want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim Hakwadash, double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders, grand millstone, and say to his to I can push this word, sincerity and honesty. Shalom.